Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching and for subscribing. And if you're just visiting, please consider subscribing. So today I'm starting a two-part series about my 10 for life fragrances. The first one is going to be on my top 10 for life niche fragrances. And then the second one that I'll share with you in a couple of days is top 10 designer for life. And I did these types of videos last year, almost a year ago, but my collection has changed dramatically in the last year. I would say there's so many fragrances that I decluttered. There's so many fragrances that I purchased, and my tastes have changed and evolved in some ways as well. So the list that I have prepared for you today is quite different from the list that I had last year. And I think it's normal to have these lists change according to, new acquisitions or taste changes. So 10 fragrances, 10 niche fragrances that I have chosen today, I think, if I remember correctly, are all different from my list last year. So let's get started. These are in no particular order. And the first one that I'm going to share with you is one of my newest acquisitions, the one that I just shared with you in a haul. This is from the house of Memo, and this is called Sintra. I fell in love with this fragrance as soon as I tried it. This is a fragrance that, of course, features that sweet orange blossom combination. And in my haul, I shared with you quite a few fragrances that share this type of combination. And although I absolutely love all of them, this is the one that I ultimately decided to choose to include in my top 10 for life. And that is because I find this one just slightly different and slightly more unique than the other ones that I have tried featuring this combination. So the main notes in here are neroli, petitgrain, orange blossom, of course. There is some florals in here. There is a marshmallow, cinnamon, vanilla, caramel, musk. And so clearly you can see that this is a sweet orange blossom combination. There's vanilla and marshmallow here. What makes this fragrance different, and I mentioned this already in my haul, is that we have not just neroli, but we also have petitgrain, which gives it a little bit of greenness and even a touch of bitterness, but in the best possible way. So the opening of this fragrance is not a very sweet. Neroli and petitgrain are very prominent in the opening together with orange blossom, but the sweet notes come out more in a dry down. Like marshmallow is definitely here, but it's not just marshmallow. Vanilla is here as well, and everything is supported by the other floral notes as well. This is such a stunner. I think this is a huge compliment getter, and I absolutely love it and just must have it in my top 10. Next one that I included is a fragrance that I've sampled quite a few months ago and knew right away that I wanted to have it in my collection. Finally found a full bottle and absolutely will need to have it in my top 10. Cannot go without this fragrance. This is Ivory Root from Xerjoff. This is such a stunner, a fragrance where notes really don't matter. I mean, the notes say spices, sandalwood, patchouli, and basil, and really the only notes here that I think are evident to me are spices. So this is definitely a spicy fragrance, especially spicy in the opening. Yes, spices are very strong in the opening. I mean, yes, sandalwood is here as well. It is definitely smooth and creamy, and then it starts developing into this amazingly deep, rich, smooth, dense kind of vanillic sweetness together with sandalwood. Spices are still here, although not as strong or prominent as they are in the opening. Such a gorgeous fragrance. I know some get kind of a minty quality to this. I do not get that. I just get overall spiciness, like a blend of spices where, I can't really identify what it is, like cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, whatever. I don't know. It's just spicy and sweet and creamy and rich. Gorgeous, gorgeous scent, absolutely addictive, a must-have. Now, I really try to include fragrances from different houses here, but you know my love for the House of Xerjoff, and I couldn't include just one. There had to be 2 fragrances in my top 10 list. Second one being, not a surprise, this is Italica. My biggest unicorn that I have been after for so long and that I finally was able to catch. And was it worth the wait? Yes. Again, I will say that when I did my review on this fragrance, I said that, yes, I would not consider it the best gourmand ever. I stand by that. I would not, but that doesn't diminish the beauty or the quality of this fragrance. This fragrance is outstanding and it is also unique. The main notes in here are almond, milk, toffee. I mean, there are some other notes in here, but these are the ones that stand out the most to me. It is definitely a lactonic type of almond that's in here, and the sweetness mostly is coming from toffee, not so much from vanilla, at least to my nose, it is mostly coming from toffee. There's also saffron in here, which I don't like, and thankfully I don't get in this fragrance at all. This is a beautiful, unique gourmand that I'm liking more and more the more that I wear it. And of course, this had to be in my top 10. Next on my list, I have a fragrance from BDK Parfums. Overall, I have 3 fragrances from them, which I enjoy all. But when I thought about which one would I include in my top 10, I right away thought about this one because, again, it's a very interesting and very unique fragrance, in my opinion. I'm talking about Tabac Rose. This is a fragrance where, to me, the name is actually a little bit deceiving because I don't get a lot of tobacco in this fragrance at all, and rose really comes out more in a dry down. So some other notes that are in here are plums and patchouli, and that's what I get the most in the opening. It's plums with patchouli with maybe a touch of tobacco smoke, and then when it dries down, I'm definitely getting chocolate, which is in here, and this is when the rose is coming out more, and tobacco is still here, but again, it is so light. But when it dries down, it just becomes this chocolate covered rose with a touch of patchouli and a touch of tobacco smoke. Such an interesting fragrance that goes through very distinctive development stages, at least on my skin, and all of the stages are equally beautiful and equally interesting, and that's why I decided to include it. Now, I'm sure that for those of you that watch my channel, you knew that this fragrance will definitely be on this list because, to me, this is the best gourmand ever. Everybody knows what it is, right? This is, of course, Unknown Pleasures from Kerosene. Yes, to me, this is the best gourmand ever. And, you know, we all have different noses. We all have different tastes. So just because it's the best gourmand to me doesn't mean it will be the best gourmand for you, but this is just my opinion. So in here we have lemon, caramel, vanilla, tea, tonka, honey, and I just love the base of this fragrance. And I think at least the fragrances that I have tried from this house, the gourmands, they all share a similar base. It's some kind of interesting vanilla that's in here that has a slightly different vibe to the other vanillas that I have tried. And for me, just works. It has that condensed milk vibe, which I absolutely love. And then in addition to that, we have caramel, and then there's a little bit of lemon with tea. So it's like drinking lemon tea with some condensed milk. Just incredible, delicious, gorgeous, beautiful, amazing performer. It just hits all the points. To me, it check marks all the points that I need in a gourmand, and it works beautifully. I would be happy to wear this fragrance every single day if I could. So Unknown Pleasures from Kerosene is not a surprise on this list. Next fragrance is from the house of Kilian. And again, I had sort of a tough choice here. There are definitely two that I could have included, but again, I tried to include a variety of different houses here, and ultimately the one that I went with is Angel's Share. This is kind of the fragrance that really made me sort of fall in love with the house of Kilian and made me more interested in this house. And this is, of course, a boozy scent. It has cognac, it has cinnamon, vanilla, oak, tonka, praline, and this, I've mentioned this many times, I haven't changed up my mind. This feels like eating a cinnamon bun and drinking a glass of cognac. It's beautiful, boozy, sweet, comforting, all of those things. The other reason I decided to choose this fragrance is because initially when I got it, my biggest gripe with it was performance. It really didn't have very good lasting power, but I have to admit that now that this scent had a chance to, you know, stand around and sort of calm down and relax and maybe age a little bit, I have to admit that the performance has improved and improved noticeably, you know, where at the beginning probably the lasting power was, I don't know, 3.5, let's say, hours approximately. I would say that it has increased by a couple of hours for sure, which is for me, you know, a huge deal. And that's why I decided to include Angel's Share. Next fragrance on my top 10 niche for life is from the house of Oud, and this is Grape Pearls. This was my first introduction to this house, and it is still my absolute favorite from this house. This is a fragrance that is about coffee, vanilla, and rose, which is a very familiar combination because we have a lot of other fragrances that smell like this. Deluxe from Tiziana Terenzi, Intense Cafe from Montal, Roses Vanille from Mancera. All of them have this similar note combination, but what makes this fragrance stand apart, it's what makes it different, and why I chose this one over, let's say, the others, is because we also have blueberries and grapes in this one, which are very, very prominent and very obvious. So you have that beautiful, you know, base of coffee, vanilla, and rose, but then you have this real nice fruity touch to this from grapes and blueberries. And the sweetness in here is kind of deeper and stronger than in the other fragrances that I have mentioned. And I think it makes this one maybe a touch more feminine than the other fragrances that I have mentioned. And that's why I've chosen it, and that's why I love it. Now, I need to have a really good, juicy, sweet, fruity fragrance on this list. I am really craving these types of scents during this time of the year, and I have, you know, a few that fall into this category, but the one I decided to go with is Mula Mula Rouge Extreme from Byron Parfums, another newer addition to my collection and the one that I have been enjoying so much. So this has cherry, strawberry, raspberry, there's caramel in here, there's also oud, there's ginger, sandalwood, patchouli, vanilla. So there are a lot of notes, but mostly I get a really beautiful mix of these red berries, strawberries and raspberries. Definitely caramel is very obvious, and then the oud gives this fragrance real backbone and a really special touch. But don't be afraid of oud in this fragrance. It is not strong, it is not overpowering, it is definitely beginner friendly. It is almost unnoticeable, to be honest. It just, like I said, gives this fragrance a backbone, makes it special. It's not just sweet fruits, but you really get a punch of something special in it. And I think it's oud that brings it to this fragrance. It is delicious, beautiful, intoxicating, addictive, outstanding fragrance. So I definitely enjoy this one, and I definitely would keep it in my top 10. And if you're keeping count, we're left with 2 more. The next one is from the house of Atelier des Ors. I have 3 fragrances from this house, and this one, I have to admit, is by far my favorite. This is a gorgeous scent that features the note of dates. It is called Rouge Surrey. So in addition to dates, we have plums in here, we have cinnamon, pearl balsam, vanilla, and sandalwood. And this is a fragrance where you get more of plums in the opening with definite woody touch. And then as it starts developing, the dates are coming out more and more, and the sweetness kind of deepens as well. The woody touch is always there. It is definitely a woody fragrance, but not too much so. It's not on the level of, let's say, Un Bois Vanille from Serge Lutens or By the Fireplace from Replica. No, it is not that kind of woody. It is just a slightly woody scent, but overall it is sweet. It is, again, addictive. It's a little bit, I think, a little bit resinous as well, probably from pearl balsam, and it is a little bit spicy from cinnamon, but everything together just creates a beautiful aroma, beautiful blend that just works. It is sweet, but I don't think it is overpowering. Although I've worn this fragrance a lot in the winter, I can totally wear it in the spring as well, because like I said, it is not overpowering in any way. Everything is done in moderation and everything together works beautifully. So again, this is Rouge Surrey from Atelier des Ors. And the last fragrance on this top 10 list is a stunner for the summer. This is Mango Skin from Wilhelm Perfumery. This is another fruity fragrance, but this one, although it's interesting because there's so many notes in this fragrance. I mean, some of them are mango, orange, frangipani, violet, blackcurrant, red wine, musk. There are a lot of other notes. The list is quite long, but to my nose, this fragrance is really about mango, the most realistic smelling mango that I have ever tried. I mean, I think I've tried a fair number of fragrances that are mango centric, but this is the most realistic one, the one that really smells like the real mango. You know, when you have a really ripe mango and you just peeled it and, you know, the juice is running down your hand and you're biting it and it's so soft and ripe and juicy. That's really what it smells like. And, you know, maybe mango skin is still somewhere on the counter beside you. You haven't thrown it away yet. So you get a little bit of that tartness, let's say, from the peel as well. And it's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous for the summer. I think this is a must. If for any of you that enjoy the smell of mango, to me, this is really the best mango scent that I have ever tried. And of course, it had to be in my top 10 list. So there you go. These are the 10 niche fragrances for life that I would choose currently. Of course, I am sure that a year from now, this list might change, or maybe some of these fragrances would still stay on the list. So I would love to know some of your top niche fragrances for life. Please share it with me in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye!